In this update, we'll be getting the outline, some letters, and the ride system in place. And yes, I have already built the Pirates of the Caribbean ride before, but that was a little bit of a smaller version. And now with the New Orleans Square project that I'm building, I wanted to build a bigger version that fits better with the Haunted Mansion so that it can all come together. And besides, Pirates of the Caribbean is such a great ride anyways, I just wanted to build a better and bigger version of it that would really feel like you're there. So, first off, I started with the outline. So right now for the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, we've got this outline here. It is going to be very big. I'm doing this in the same style as the Haunted Mansion there. So we're gonna have the ride below with the structure, the building on top, as well as more of New Orleans Square above. So that is part of why it is so big. This is probably about 1.5 times the size of the Haunted Mansion building, if I had to guess. And now it's time to start putting all of this together. Alright, so it's a little messy now as I'm getting this all organized, starting to build the ride. Now I have the exact dimensions, which took a very long time, but it's exciting. The base of the structure is here, and now we just build up. The one thing I did change, there's an extra 2x6 here from the original when I was laying it out so that it all matches up. We've added this in just for extra support to keep that all together, since this part is just one big rectangle. And I just did some big tile pieces here because the track will be going right over that, and I will not be building it up very high, so just got to be tile so it can go right above that. Same thing over here, just to give it some more structure. We've got these set in place so that it can keep it all tight, keep it together. And then I built out at these parts just for a little extra support. Besides that, we're starting to get the track in place. I've added a few things here. So it's just one of these tile pieces with tiles just right there, and that's connecting it to more plates so I can get those across. But I can also add with this little contraption here, placing that there, and so I'll place something in similar on the other side, and this will keep it all together with the rest of the setup. And then obviously I have these gears in place for these chain links. I've started building those up. I might need to add or take away a few, but this should probably be a pretty good setup right now. I've got the basic track, and the next step is just going to be to keep building more of that track in place like this and get that down. On top of all of these 2x whatever flat pieces, I have the 1x whatever flat pieces, just kind of keeping it all together. Another angled piece right there to keep it together. And we have one more of these connecting pieces. That's the last one there to get all those angles right. I've developed a little bit of a contraption. It's going to take a turn right back here. We have this block for a nice gradual turn. I don't want any of these pieces to get caught on that sharp end right there. So that's why we got one of these, so it can smoothly just go across there. And over here we've just been connecting these different points. Same thing. Had to be in between those parts. So I use those tiles with the studs in the middle. And this is all connecting back to that middle thing to get that solid structure there. It looks pretty ugly right now, but it'll all help out in the end. We've got this, just building some pieces out so that that one is also on top. That's just connected by a 1x1 there. Same thing over here. I used a little corner piece there so that this piece in the middle with that Technic gear doesn't have to get on any studs. For all of these indented turns, I'm just using these circular pieces. So when the whole thing spins, that'll just kind of go right up against it. And then that shouldn't be too much of a problem with all these pieces. These circular pieces also had to take those tiles to be right in the middle there so that this could be a nice straightish line. And again, I've always got the tile here when the path goes right over it, if I need to connect it to different pieces. And then I added this little bit right there so it has a smooth part to go straight, where it will go straight across here. And this will be another indented turn. That's what we've got for now. We're back, lots of little changes. First off, over here, for a little bit smoother of a turn. Before there was some of these circular pieces, but that still left a little bit of a gap there. These were just getting barely caught on it. Now that has this. I realized just with the little gap and with transparent blue pieces over this, a lot of these fill-in brick are actually going to be somewhat noticeable, so we're swapping a lot of those out with some more blue colors. It shouldn't be too noticeable, but this yellow definitely will. So right now we're just swapping a bunch of those out. I just need to get this part down here somewhere, and besides that, that's pretty much the whole track. So the track is about done, but it's going to be pretty complicated getting the rest of it in. Right now I can kind of move it from either of these, but I'm going to switch those out a lot because there's going to be water right here and the boat's going to be going right over this, so that would get right in the way of it. So we're going to need to build some more gears going out and then something else to spin it over here, and then we're going to connect it to the track that will take it back up to the top. I've now replaced a lot of the fill-in brick with more blue and dark blue colors, and so everything that follows right where that track will be, that's where the gap will be, and now that is all blue. I've changed a lot of these Technic pieces too to either black or blue. So now I've got this whole track set up. It's looking pretty good, and it goes pretty well. However, there's another constraint we've run into. Now, like this, it gets stuck a lot right there. The track is usually a little higher up, but there's a big area here without a gear. I was thinking a slope right here, so then it could smoothly just go right back up onto that ramp. Alright, for now we're going to keep it with this slope here. That goes pretty smooth. That one is less smooth for some reason. Alright, this is... oh, it keeps falling off that gear. That's the problem. There's another one getting caught over here. Gonna fix that. There's probably other ones that'll get caught. As I notice them, I'll just find slopes like that so that this whole thing can move a lot, well, maybe just a little bit smoother. Oh, alright, it keeps falling off that gear for some reason. We gotta tackle that problem. Well, these are now getting stuck on the tiniest wall part of this slope. It's a little annoying. So yeah, we'll have to find out something else. Here's a little sample of this thing in motion, so you can see it really super easy to carry the boat, and that's just sitting in between some bricks there. Obviously it'll be a lot better once I get everything on top of it, all the tiling, and then this can just rest there and be more smooth. Now moving on, this is where it's going to require a lot of thinking. What's taking me the longest time is just getting the outline. That took a ridiculous amount of time because I'm always thinking exactly where everything is going to be, kind of the optimal setup, how I can get a track in it, how much space, and what's going to be on top of it, all the New Orleans square buildings, all of that. Now I need to start thinking now so I can get this all connected and put together for the track, is the ramp to bring this back up to the start. What I'm looking at right now is I've got to think about where everything on top of this is going to be. I'm pretty much keeping the front of the Pirates of the Caribbean that I had from the last time I built this. I'll change it up a little bit, but generally the same. And so I've got about that much space to work with. That's going to go out that far. Then entrance is going to come around here and it'll drop down here. But this will be the end of the ride and it needs to come back up to the start. And so I need to think about how it'll do that where it won't get in the way of the drop or in the way of anything else. Another thing maybe you've noticed is anytime I have these connecting flat pieces, I usually have something extended out rather than just matching it to exactly what it would be. And this is because I'm going to need more supports in the middle for this. I'm not just building these walls. Eventually there's going to be something in the middle, and so the more I can get for it all to connect here, the stronger of a base I can have. I did a lot of thinking and experimenting with different drops so I can know where that would be in place and how long the drops could be while I could still make it down. I also looked at the height of where the Haunted Mansion's at right now to have a better idea of exactly how tall this would need to be. So I've started getting each of these layered with those circular pieces to hold the track in place. We've also got this track built up. This is not what it'll look like in the final stages, but at this point I'm just trying to get the whole track all put together. It'll take the boat to about here, and then some walls will be in place here to push it towards this direction. You can kind of pick up on that. I just got to get the boat situated there to the upper level. I've replaced this gear here with a much bigger gear. This way the boat could actually go around it. That'll later connect to the top upper floor so that we can get all of this moving at the same time. And all of these gears are now built up in the same design. These smaller ones just have a small technic piece underneath to get it at the same level. But because of the piece I was using to hold it all together, the only one that was the right length that would keep it all together underneath, where I wouldn't have to put another gear here or something to hold it in place, that is just barely too much where it goes against the other stud on the ground. And so I'm actually just going to lift all of this up by one. That will also help it just a little bit to make the transition a little easier when it needs to go back up here. Now we're on to the next stage, starting to build up these walls a little bit so then we can get these platforms in place. None of these are totally in place right now, but just starting to measure some of it out. Although I realize this wall on the inside needs to be just one higher than I'd realized. I'm not sure how I messed that up. So we're gonna build it all up now. So I'm placing down all these plates right now, and I want everything to look as smooth as possible. So I've used the snot technique right there to get that tile so it'll be really smooth. You can see as that passes. As well over here, it's a tighter space because there's a smaller gear, but I've still got that black piece. Now we're getting some of the writing in. This part of the wall will be pretty blank, so perfect spot to have Pirates of the Caribbean written out. I also decided to make it more 3D, the wall behind it. I've pretty much figured all the letters out except the B's. I was going to use some sloped pieces like this, but I don't have very many of these and there's 2 B's. So instead, trying to be more creative with what I have. And I do have a lot of these, so we're working out something for that. Alright, so here's what I've come up with. It's got this back end to connect back to the wall, but I think this turned out pretty well. I've been using the snot technique to get these 2 B's in, and I had to get all the space filled with black, so the only way for that to work, I had to go across this way, and now it's perfectly level so that I can just continue building above. Matches perfectly. Now I finally got all the letters in. I think that turned out pretty nice. I do a lot of overlapping at different points so that it's really strong, stays sturdy within the wall. That's Caribbean now, right there. So here's what we got for now for this update. The whole outline, starting to get some of the plates, Caribbean, and the track. Everything besides the top portion. So this obviously doesn't work perfect right now while it's not complete, but you can kind of see how it can easily carry a boat. It'll be a lot easier once both sides are in. So that's what I've got right now for the Pirates of the Caribbean Disneyland ride. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next update, as well as seeing this when it's finished and other rides that I've built or will be building.